Kung Fu Panda 4 is directed by Mike Mitchell, and this is the fourth entry in the Kung Fu Panda franchise from DreamWorks Animation. In the film, Po, voiced by Jack Black, must find and train his successor as the new dragon warrior, until he teams up with a fox bandit named Zhen, voiced by Awkwafina, to defeat the evil sorceress, the Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, before she steals the Kung Fu abilities of all masters in China. When it comes to the Kung Fu Panda movies, I really enjoyed the first three films. I think the first three films are really great films. Even the third one, even it has its flaws, but I still think it's still a solid film, despite some few issues with the comedy. But I think overall it's still a great film, as good as the first two, especially the second one. I think the second film has that emotional weight to it. It has like a really heartwarming scene, especially with Poe's origin story and his backstory of his family and his heritage. But other than that, I think these three films stand on its own gratefully and definitely has fantastic stuff going for it. And now we have the fourth film. Now, when it comes to the fourth movie, I was kind of skeptical going to this one because I knew the marketing hasn't been great, and also the trailer didn't really grab my attention. But I did wanted this film to be good, and I still wanted it to be as great as the first three films. But after seeing it, I hate to say this, guys, I don't want to be one of those guys who comes across like a miserable critic. I am. Unfortunately, Kung Fu Panda 4 was a huge letdown for me, guys. I hate saying that because I don't want to be going to this film. I wanted to hate it like everyone was saying, but unfortunately, Kung Fu Panda 4, it didn't work. It just felt really flat. It just felt undeveloped in certain areas with its story. Because I want to start off the positives. Let's just get the positives out of the way, because there are some good things going for this movie. I will say the animation is great. I love the animation. The animation here is just as good as the first three films are. It's colourful, it has that bright, unique, vibrant to it, and it definitely feels like there's something going for its animation and its style and the creativity to put into it. And I do appreciate it, and I do applaud the animators from DreamWorks putting a lot of effort to this, and I do admire and appreciate for them. As far as the voice acting goes, everyone all around does a brilliant job. Everyone gives it all. Jack Black as Poe delivers. He kicks so much voice acting in the ass with this. He hasn't left. He hasn't even phoned it in. He hasn't even checked out. He doesn't seem like he just phoned it in. He seems really into it. He seems like he's just loving the character, voicing him. It makes me appreciate it, and I do really like what he has brought to the table. And I really love his interaction with Awkwafina's character Zhen, who is probably the highlight. Definitely brought so much energy into this film, and every time she's on screen, she's definitely the highlight for me. And I do like Awkwafina, basically with Shang-Chi, The Legend of Ten Rings back in 2021. Hot take, I actually didn't mind her as Scuttle in the Little Mermaid remake. Yeah, hate me all you want, but I actually like that movie. Check my review if you have not seen it. But I would say both her and Poe chemistry and the bouncing off one another perfectly well executed, and definitely has some of that fun aspects. I really like Poe's two fathers, who I really enjoy, voiced by James Hong and also Bryan Cranston. Both of them are hilarious as they are. Definitely brought some fun energy to this movie, and I do respect them for what they did. And I will say, even though they're not in the marketing, the Furious 5, who are not in the movie specifically, I will say that, they do reference what they've been doing, what they're up to, so at least they got that, which I will mention it in the negatives because I got stuff to say about that. And Shifu himself, voiced by Dustin Hoffman. Great! I like Dustin Hoffman. He definitely brought some energy to this movie, and he definitely does have some great moments in there as well. So that's something. And there's some fun action scenes, and there are some cool kung fu fighting scenes I really liked. But that's all I'm going to say about this movie for the majority of it. Unfortunately, the film itself, the overall plot and story, is very weak. It's very paper thin. It's very generic. It's very play it safe, and it just definitely felt like it could have done so much more with it, because there is a good story there, but the way it did it though, it's just didn't execute it well for me personally. I found it really, really jarring and very questionable. Comedy, when it comes to this in this movie, comedy is very subjective. It's hard to make people laugh. I maybe laughed once or twice, and I did get a good few chuckles in this movie. But unfortunately, the comedy is just too much to rely on in this movie. The film just relies on, it just tries to shove so many comedy stuff in their faces. It didn't slow down or take a breather or get inside the characters' heads. You do get some moments, but it just ruins with comedy. It just felt really flat, and especially some of that silly moments that really didn't really hit me that emotionally. It just relies on the comedy, and it just felt, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I don't know, it did. I found the humor really a bit childish a little bit in a certain degree, especially the one scene in that scene in the trailer and the movie itself really kept me off guard. It just didn't really have that, I don't know, it just didn't really grab me with the humor. That's really sad because DreamWorks is known for its adult humor, but they're just trying to go for the more appeal for younger kids jokes, which I get they're trying to go with that, but you're forgetting you're making a good story here when you're forgetting about the story, the character arcs that Poe's journey going through. It just felt really flat to me, and it felt undercooked. The Furious 5 not in the movie that much. They do give the idea where they are, but that's what it's lacking in, especially in this movie. Because the Furious 5 are really meant to be like the heart and soul of this franchise, and they're supposed to be the voice of reason with Poe, interaction with him. Especially Tigress, voiced by Angelina Jolie, who is supposed to be heart and soul of it, and her interaction with Poe, over arguments and disagreements, and also give her like a words of wisdom to Poe. That is supposed to be war. That could have been something there, because that would have worked easily. Unfortunately, it didn't work at all. About the Furious 5, the film felt flat for me personally. As far as the villain, the Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, Viola Davis done a good job voice acting the character. I will give her that for sure. But the overall story and her character, her motivation, felt underused and very flat, and really the most boring villain I have ever seen. All she does, she just wants to take some of the abilities from the Kung Fu masters, especially the villains that Poe faces from the previous films. That's it. That's her motivation. There's nothing else to her. Minus the scene with one character that she's connected to. I will say that. I'm not going to spoil it, but that character. But that was it. Nothing else to her. Just a boring, bland, pretentious villain that's just there to use the Kung Fu Master's abilities and take over China and destroy Dragon Warrior. That's it. And I hate to say this, Shifu was underused. They could have done more with him, because there's so much more of that character, but he took the backseat of this film, and it's just a real shame, because Dustin Hoffman's Shifu deserves more credit than he deserves. Now, I don't want to be boot the roosh here, but if I'm going to try to compare this, I don't really compare this movie to other movies, because if I had to pick one of them, I'd rather watch Toy Story 4 over this again, because Toy Story 4, you can say what you want about that film, call it unnecessary, or it's just nothing much to the film, but at least that film has something going for it. At least it has a story to tell, and at the very least, still keeps the heart and charm as the first three Toy Story film did. It stick to the heart and charm, the humor, the characters, everything about it. Yes, it may be the weakest, but at least it had something there. Something that grabs onto. Kung Fu Panda 4 could have been like Toy Story 4, with that same heart and charm as the first three did, but it just felt like I've been insulted. Yeah, I hate to say this, guys, Kung Fu Panda 4 is such a big letdown. It just left me so underwhelmed. It could have had potential, be a great film. It has potential. I do see a good movie in there. But if the comedy just has less comedy and focuses more on storytelling, because it would have worked so much easier, because I feel like the comedy was too much. It just too much on the comedy. It could have worked as a good movie, but unfortunately, Kung Fu Panda 4 is a big letdown. It's better than, I would say, Shark Tale or Boss Baby or some of the Trolls films, but That's not saying much. I would say it is up the same league as Shrek the Third as one of the biggest disappointments in their franchises. So, I hate to say this, Kung Fu Panda 4 was a letdown. That's why I'm going to give it a C-. I would say I do recommend this to you guys. You will have fun with it. You will enjoy it. You will have fun. Don't go in with high expectations, because if you're going to have high expectations, then you're going to be disappointed. I would say go with a low expectation. It would help. Just go with low expectations. You might have fun with it. You will enjoy it, but don't expect anything amazing about it. So that's all I'm going to say. Overall, guys, comment down below. Tell me what you think of Kung Fu Panda 4. Do you love it? Do you like it? Or do you think it's alright? Or do you hate it? Whatever the case is, comment down below. Tell me what you think. And of course, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Hit that icon bell for more future videos like this. Until next time, see ya!